This is some 6-gauge copper wire. I just bought a roll of it at Home Depot, and I marked out to about 6¼ inches, which I find out by the time I hammered it and had it all finished, it was a little too big, and at the end I had to trim it down a little bit. So if I ever do this again, maybe I would just cut a 6-inch piece, and that should fit me just fine. I ended up hacking about 2/3 of the way through it, and then just bent it over a few times till it snapped off. And from here on, it's really just a lot of hammering, depending on what kind of texture you want to get. More or less hammering. I wanted to get a hammer texture, so by the end I used the ball peen end of the hammer to get that texture. First I wanted to flatten this wire a little bit, and I actually ended up softening this copper wire several times throughout this project. I heated up with the torch until it was glowing orange and then quenched it. It took several minutes to heat each time. So you just be patient, run the heat back and forth across the wire, and eventually you'll get there. And to flatten the wire a little bit, I'm using a small sledgehammer. It worked pretty well. It would probably work a lot better if I had the right tools and if my anvil was secured to a work surface and wasn't bouncing all over the place. But I'm not a professional. I just decided I wanted to make a copper bracelet, and so this is what I'm trying to do. And I would hammer and flatten one side about halfway, and then turn it around and flatten the other side. Flip it over, and just keep hammering away at it until it looks the way I wanted it to look. That little anvil bouncing all over the place was as annoying for me doing this project as it is to watch again. And now I got that wire somewhat flattened all the way across the length of it, and now I'm switching over to the ball peen hammer in order to hammer out the texture onto the copper. And this is all a matter of preference. You could do as much or as little of this texturing as you like. I didn't really go too wild with it. I just wanted to put a little bit of a hammer texture into the metal. I'm not a metal worker. I'm not a jewelry maker. I just hack away at it until I like it, or until I'm tired of the project. And now I'm just filing up the ends so there's no sharp edges. Nothing too perfect, nothing too fancy. After I got these ends filed smooth enough for me, I annealed the piece one more time, and then I bent it around a round piece of wood. I measured out about the size of my wrist and put a mark on the piece of wood and just bent it around there. And I think it turned out okay. All in all, it took me about an hour, maybe 45 minutes. It was just a lot of hammering, and that's really about it. If you like this project, you can do it yourself. It's easy, it's fun, and you get a therapeutic copper bracelet at the end of it all. Alright, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, a subscribe, make a comment. Let me know what you think. Bye.